What's going on, man? You are live right now on the Zach Moonshine Show, dude. What's going on, man?
Hey, good to be on the show, brother.
Hell yeah, dude. Fourth fucking time, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, do I get an award?
Yeah. Hell yeah. We need to send you a t-shirt or something, man. Fuck.
Dude, hell yeah, I'll rock that.
So how you doing, man? What's going on in your world?
Well, it's been a crazy 2 years, man, as it has for everybody, you know. But there's been a lot of shit packed into my life, you know, within the last 2 years, with just shit happening with family members and friends and me. And, you know, I've been just trying to stay focused, just writing music, and, you know, trying to keep my mind off just all the bullshit that's going on, man.
Hell yeah. Well, you seem to be doing a good job of it, man, because you're just coming out of the gates like left and right with all these fucking tracks.
I know, man. It's crazy because we've got about 4 more songs from our last session that we got to get out. But I just recorded 8 brand new Sniper songs and then 8 brand new songs for another project I'm in called Gaffled. That's with Jeremy and Chris from Snipers, along with Will Dorsey from Body Count on drums.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a friend of ours. He's from here locally from Crofton, you know, right up the street. And unfortunately, his dad passed away, and he came down while he was here, you know, and laid down some drum tracks. And we've got like 8 more songs, man. And, you know, so we're just keeping busy, you know, just putting music out. And I write when, unfortunately, you know, with a lot of musicians and stuff like that, you write best when you're you know, going through different times. And me, unfortunately, write the best when I'm, you know, going through shit, man. You know, it's very it influences the music, and so I've been taking advantage of it, man.
Therapeutic, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I've told so many people. I used to repossess cars for like 7 years. That was one of my gigs I was doing. Fulfilling the studio was kind of slow, and you know, you get kind of this adrenaline rush and this high, and without music, which gives me that, you know, I would be resorting to, you know, going back to doing shit like that. You know,
repossessing vehicles, man.
Yeah,
it's
a fun job, man.
yeah, I bet, man. I bet you see a lot of crazy shit, man.
Yeah, that's the you know, that's the only thing. The hunt is what it's all about, but actually taking the car when you're up the street, you feel like taking it back, almost like, you know, you go fishing, you catch a fish, you don't want to, you know, throw it back, you know. But
that would be funny if you did that. Like, I got you, motherfucker. You should have paid the shit. All right. You can have it back, but do it next time.
My boss would fire me. I mean, I did one job where we call it a double header. I had 2 cars and both of them were there, and I snatched one of them, and I told the person, I was like, look, man, I got a guy up the road coming here to get this other car. This guy, you know, had a wife and had like 4 kids, and you know, you can't go to work without a car. So I was like, look, get in this car and get the fuck out of here, man, before he gets here. I don't want to take both of them, you know. So, you know, I was a repo guy with a heart, I guess.
You're a good guy, Mike.
Right.
So tell us about these tunes, man. You know what? There's one question that keeps fucking flying around every time I play a new single from you guys. Everybody keeps asking, is this going to be, are they all going to be put together as an album at some point? Because...
Yeah, definitely at some point we're going to do that. We've, just because of the inactivity, you know, with clubs and not doing shows, and I want to stay relevant. You know, I don't want to just put an album out every 6 years or 4 years and then nothing. So we just decided we've got so much material. Why don't we just release singles right now? You know, as we get them done, just pump them out. You know, and at some point we're definitely going to put together a CD package and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it definitely works. I mean, it definitely keeps people interested and gets them excited. And it's like, you know, you're constantly pushing something new out there. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people that I'm talking to that are like, they're wanting more, and they're getting hungry, man.
That's awesome, man. Well, shit, man. Well, tell them to set their dinner plate up, man, because we're gonna be serving some.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. So tell us about some of these songs that you've released so far, man. I know.
Well, some of the best, my favorite stuff that we put out definitely is this round, and definitely like the next set of songs that we're going to be putting out. I mean, are my favorites, but basically, as I'm writing them, I'm kind of, whatever I'm influenced by, I kind of get a working title for it. And we just kind of go from there. And I said, hey man, this song was I was feeling this vibe and getting into this at the time and stuff like that. And it's been awesome because, every time they've been writing lyrics about it, that kind of thing. I'll have, ideas for placement and vocal, ideas and cadences, that kind of thing. But I don't really write lyrics anymore. I just don't have the time, and thankfully, I have enough singers in the band, for crying out loud, who can cover that. So, we released a song, a while ago called Your God's War, which was basically about the same scenario with war. It's about a guy who's reincarnated, and every time he's reincarnated, the same scenario happens. He's a soldier, and he's a soldier in different types of armies and that kind of thing, but it's just kind of like it transcends to everywhere. It's just, we're fucking, how long has humanity, the human race been here and has evolved where it is? It's like it just seems like we're beyond that whole thing with taking over countries and war and that kind of thing. It's just we're way more evolved than that, it seems. But at the same time, man, we're so fucking primitive, and the shit you see going on in the news, it's like we're reverting instead of evolving. So a lot of the music's about that, about the government and how they're fucking lying to us every day, just shit like that, real stuff, and then we have a song called Gabriel, which is kind of like an idea for a video game that I had, and it kind of ties all the songs in, and it was just basically, your story, good versus evil kind of thing, into a story, that kind of thing. And then there's a song that we just put out, Digital Death, that it's kind of how the future of warfare is going to be more on a computerized kind of level, and hopefully, war sucks, but, hopefully it can be done with less casualties and using more of the AI kind of thing, Yeah. So, yeah, so it's just like there's so much to grab from, and there's, every day there's so much shit to go on that can really influence you into writing.
It'll be in this new fucking metaverse, man, that Facebook has fucking turned in, or is turning into.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, have you seen that shit, man? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's so surreal, man. You know what I mean? It's just because I'm an old head, man. I think back, years ago when, I was in a band when we didn't even have fucking internet. You know what I mean? And we didn't have these things. We had fanzines and tape trading and shit like that, and you really had to just get out there and grind it on the road, to make yourself known. Now it's just like kids don't know how good they got it, man. It's so insane that everybody now is a musician and a fucking actor. It's crazy. It's too much.
Yeah, I was reading an article that was going kind of in depth on that whole the whole meta thing, and like with what they're talking about, like doing a fucking virtual social media type thing where you're actually like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, dude, like, that could be pretty cool. It could be cool on some levels, and it could be scary in some. But I mean, like, as far as like it being cool, like I was thinking, we could actually all be sitting in the same room together, looking at each other while we're listening to music together, and talking about it, and see each other drinking beers or whatever. I don't know, like, like how to.
Right.
How does that work, man? Like that would be pretty cool. Like I guess, I mean, if that's where it's gonna go, but at the same time, there's always a downside.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. And with COVID, it's kind of cool because, just being able to keep in touch with friends and kind of hang out on a virtual level, But man, I'm so just, man, I miss shows and getting out on the road, just all that stuff, man. It's just like so different now,
Yeah, and there's a lot of shows that are coming around right now.
Yeah,
it seems like things are coming back to normal, but at the same time, there's always that wonder in the back of your mind, like.
Yeah, my neighbor, him and his wife had gone to a Outlaws concert in Pittsburgh. They did a road trip and went up there. They're friends with those guys and stuff, and it's like so many people were sick with COVID and they caught it, and thankfully, they're getting through it and they're feeling better and everything, but it's crazy, man. It's just like, fuck, it's like, it's almost inevitable that we're all going to get it at some point, man, because it's just hitting home closer and closer every week, Yeah,
for sure, man, for sure. So, I also want to ask you about Oblivion Studios, man, because obviously last week I had Hell Pie on the show,
yeah,
and we were talking about that, and I know there's a lot of other bands that you've been recording there. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, man, there's a lot of talent in this. In the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and there's like a pocket of bands really making a wave in Southern Maryland, and I'm just lucky. I've had the opportunity. I had the first band really from that kind of scene was a band called Coast is Clear, and I did their demo, and then I started getting like a call from Crow Hunter. They wanted to sack the album they had already recorded and re-recorded here, and so we did that, and we're working on like their second album now. Hell Pie, I've been working with fucking Eddie forever. When Eddie was in a band called Cock Farm, or Hell Pie, I was recording him, and it's just been awesome, to be able to record those guys and see every time how much they evolve, and such a great band live. Everybody in the band is fucking top-notch dudes. They're all super cool. And that's the cool thing, man. A lot of the, you do a show down here, and if you time it right with other clubs, you'll get a good crowd, and people will come out and support, and all I've done is just preaching, from like when I was living out in the Bay Area in California. It's like we would play a show at the Stone. This was when I was in a band called Oblivion, and you go to the Stone and play, and everybody would be there, and the next night everyone would be at the Omni, and the next night everyone would be at One Step Beyond or something like that. And it's like, it was really cool because even the club owners, they wouldn't book like the same type of acts on the same night. They worked with each other on this. There was no competition, so everyone was like, there was a thrash band, you would fucking see Gary Holt, you would see Rick Hunholt, you'd see Kirk Hammett hanging out at the fucking bar, and you're about to play, and you're like, this is fucking surreal. This is crazy, But for a long time, man, there was a lot of competition. It was real cliquey between bands. And if you didn't know certain people, you weren't cool, and they didn't support you because you weren't part of this band. All that is fucking bullshit, man. You got to throw all that shit aside. Support everyone. Come into the club. Just because your band ain't playing doesn't mean you got to be outside smoking. Come on inside and hang out, That's all I've been telling people, and it's just, hopefully it happens, man, I learned a lot while I was out there, and I learned a lot also that the bands in Maryland, I'm sorry, man, there's a lot of good bands out in the Bay Area, but at the time it's like we had a lot of talent here, man, that just was undiscovered,
Yeah, you guys did, man, and I lived in Laurel, Maryland when I was back in the late 80s, early 90s, man, for a while.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah, and I remember that was where I really got into radio, was out of Maryland. I think it was out of Baltimore. They had a radio station called The Underground.
Yeah, man.
And they played fucking all kinds of stuff, man. Like, that's where I first heard Exodus.
Hell yeah.
Fucking Anacruiser or
Anacrusis or
Anacrusis, yeah. King Diamond, fucking like all kinds of stuff, man. I used to tape record those shows all the time, man. I had stacks of tapes and just listen to those DJs because it was like a college radio that went FM because they got so big, and we loved it, man. When my parents moved us away from there to Arizona, I was so pissed, just because I didn't want to leave that radio station. I was like, man, this is like my holy grail right here, you know, like, fuck, I can't leave this.
Well, dude, let me tell you something about that station. When Oblivion put out a song called To Equalize, at the time our drummer was driving around Annapolis, and he was at a light, and he heard a guy rocking the song, and he rolled his window down. He's like, "Hey, man, when did we give you a tape?" He's like, "This is on the radio, man." And it was the Underground was playing our song, man. It was like fucking crazy, you know. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. I love that station.
Yeah.
Hey, when did you say you lived in Laurel? What year?
Oh man, it was like it was late '80s, like when Metallica released And Justice for All, the Black Album, and then Pantera came around, and so like somewhere in there, like for about a 5-year stretch.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, Laurel is literally like 15, 20 minutes from me. I used to teach jiu-jitsu there. It's just like a place I always went. We did club shows there. Stage One was a club we played there, and you know, like Marty Friedman's from Laurel. It's a interesting town, man. You know, if you look into it, a lot of people are from there. It's just kind of weird, you know, Laurel, Maryland. You know,
it is, man. It is, and yeah, that's just it holds a lot of memories for me because that's definitely where I really got into a lot of music and really started digging deep into it. And I was too young to really go to any shows or anything, but so that's why, you know, I was just stuck to the radio, you know, and reading magazines and stuff like that, sitting on my bed looking at the backs of cassette tape, you know, the inserts, reading all the fucking credits and all that stuff, man. Just consuming it, you know.
And that's why we want to put it out on a CD eventually, because people want to, you know, see artwork and you know, read the liner notes, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we do, man. And I can tell you, like, I'm not the only one. There's lots of people out there that are like that still enjoy that. And yeah, man, it's always cool to look into that stuff and read about it and see like who's thinking who and who's hanging out with who and like who was a part of what. And I don't know, man. There's just all kinds. Speaking of that, though, like there's all kinds of bands that have come into fucking Deceased, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That new record from them, dude, is fucking badass, man.
The thrash cover album.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was it's always intense in the studio at King Valley, dude. It's like it's like every second is accounted for. You know what I mean? It's like it's intense. It really is, but. You know, we get it done, and because King's coming down from Pennsylvania now, you know, he's not as local anymore, and all the guys are traveling, you know, like an hour away to get here and stuff, and a couple of the guys, like Shane's a little bit closer. He's in PG County where I'm from, but they come here all the time, man, and it's always a pleasure, and I'm honored to record them. You know, in the Ghostly White album, you know, it was ranked in the top 20 best metal albums of the year in Rolling Stone, man. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. This little ass like hobby recording studio, you know what I mean? It's just like, wow, that's pretty cool. I'll take it, you know.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. You know, and I was talking to Eddie last week, and I was telling him, you know, like I have a vision in my head of what your studio is like, and I was trying to ask him about it. You know, I was like telling him, I was like, man, I picture you like this madman in there with fucking wires and cords and knobs and lights and shit everywhere. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know. Like he he was saying, yeah, it pretty much is like that. But like, what is it like in there, man? It sounds like a legendary place, man.
It's very laid back. I've got old gear. I still, it's like an analog digital setup. I still love the board. I still like having knobs and EQs in front of me, and I really hate, just recording stuff and like, well, we'll just fix it later, in the mix or just like, I really like getting a good sound from the go, so you have less work later, and again, I love like the outboard, old school compressors and stuff like that, tube stuff, and anything tube, I'll take it. I just love the sound of it. And it's like you come in, it's not like you walk into like a clinic where it's just so, everything is so like perfect and sanitized. You come in, you can fucking smoke weed, you can just hang out, you can drink, you can just do whatever. It's just like, it's like band practice basically. And like I had a guy in here last week and he kind of started playing a little bit later on in life, and it was his very first time in the studio, and he was just really nervous, and I was like, dude, relax, man, it's just like practice, and I get people, in the mood and get the vibe going, hey, if you're a singer and say you're fucking up, I'm like, well, what do you do before a show? Like, I usually drink or I smoke. I'm like, well, go fucking drink and smoke and come back in here, you know what I mean? And we'll do it, so it's like, oh, I didn't know we could do it here, I was like, yeah, man, you do whatever you need to do, so it's fun, it's laid back, and I'm definitely lucky to have been able to do this for so many years and, record. I'm in my house, man. I don't have to commute. I just walk downstairs, and it's awesome, but there were those years that I, with the advent of technology, it seemed like for a while, people were recording themselves on like their iPad or something, with like amp farm and fake drums and stuff like that. And yeah, it sounded good, but it just sounded sterile. It just didn't have any life or, to it, and it's funny when you play an old record for a kid who's used to the sound that they hear now, with the new bands, and they're like, that sounds funny. You know what I mean? It kind of thing. No, it sounds real. You know what I mean? So that's what it's all about, man. I still have the old gear, and I'm at the age now, man, where there's no point in switching over. I'm an old dog. I'm just going to keep it that way.
Well, for our gearheads out there that are listening, tell us what's some of your favorite gear that you have in there, man.
Right now, like, I tracked all of my guitars on this modded Marshall that I've had for about 6 years, and I've been tweaking it and fucking with it, doing tube changes and things like that. I'm talking guitar, EMG pickups plugged straight into this amp, man, and it's just the best sound I've ever had, hands down. And I can't wait to share it, once we get all the songs done and everything. But like I said, we have 4 others that are going to get, cycled out, and then hopefully we can get onto the brand new stuff, which will be several months down the road probably. But that's my favorite piece of gear right now, man, is this late 80s Marshall head. It's amazing, man. It really is. And then I have a couple of the Manly compressors that I've been fucking with. Pretty much anything that goes through it, these old compressors, it just sounds really good. It just gives it a different vibe. Like when you bypass it and then you play it for a while, you don't notice a difference until you turn it back on and you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I have an old Mackie 32.8 board that, is really good for live and for studio. And at the time, when I got it, and I've had this board for 27 years, man. It's the only thing I've been mixing on. And I do some live mixing, and of course it's all digital now. Like the board I have, you couldn't even give it away. Nobody would want it. It's just that kind of thing. But that's just kind of, what I gravitate towards, is the old stuff. I really like just the magic that it has,
Hell yeah, man.
Anything tube, man. I would recommend that to any new audio engineer starting out or whatever, man. Collect as much tube stuff as you can get while it's still available, Tube amps are phasing out. Everyone's downsizing, they're getting like the Kempers and the Axe effects and stuff. I need a tube amp. I need a cranked tube amp on stage. I need to feel the shit. I need to feel the stage under my feet rumbling. You know what I mean? I need that. You know what I mean? It's just, that's what I've always done, you know. And these guys are saying, well, I got a Kemper and I think I'm going to get a 112. You know, it's like, what the fuck, man? You know, metal is like Marshall Stacks. You know what I mean? Let's just fucking keep it real, you know? That's just how I am personally. I know a lot of people got bad backs and they don't want to carry all this shit, but you know, it's just, it's a show. It's a metal show. You know, when I was a kid, I'd go see metal bands and you'd see a fucking Marshall Stack, you know what I mean? And this is kind of like, that's fucking awesome. You know, I went and saw Motorhead at a club called the Bayou, and Lemmy had a full Marshall Stack, you know, and Eddie had a Marshall Stack, you know, and it was cranked, man. You know, now it's like you go to a club and the sound guy's like, turn your stage sound down. You know, I would rather, you know, and I'm a sound guy, and I would rather you crank your amp. I'll just take you out of the PA a little bit. You know what I mean? But there's nothing that beats a loud stage sound, you know, as long as the PA can keep up with it. You know, if you're going to have like a rinky-dink, like Radio Shack PA, yeah, you're going to have to turn down because the PA is just going to feed back and all this other stuff when the vocalist is trying to keep up with it or whatever. But it sounds great, man. When you vibe the live sound with the stage sound, there's just nothing like it, man.
As far as and with recording, like with tubes, what's your opinion like as far as like preamps and compressors and stuff like that? Is there a notable difference of having those with tubes in them too, like running?
Definitely, yeah,
like
definitely
running your mics and stuff like that through tubes as well.
Yeah, I mean anything you can, because it just gives it like a warmth and a depth, and it gives you like this natural compression that you just don't get from solid state gear, and you don't get it from Pro Tools, man. I that's my format, and I've been doing it for 13 years, you know, is Pro Tools, but they still don't have it down. Like when people say, oh, you can't tell the difference between this and analog, that's bullshit, man. You can totally tell the difference. Like when you're pushing like a kick drum or a bass or guitar into the red in analog, it just gets fatter. You push it in the red and digital, it just sounds like shit. You know, it just sounds really harsh, and you get this digital clipping. You know, analog is way more forgiving. It's almost like cooking shit on a grill. You know, you can't fuck up on a grill. You know, you know, you overcook it for a few minutes, it's still going to be all right. You know what I mean? It's kind of the way it is with analog. You know, if you push it a little too hard, it'll be all right. You know.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know, like when I think about it, like looking at like Metallica, for instance. You know, the Black Album was 100% analog, all recorded to tape and everything. Yep. And then I think it was after that they started using Pro Tools and digital and shit. Yeah, and you can definitely. I mean, it's not that big of a difference, but it's a little bit. It's just enough that you can tell, and there's something missing, you know.
Yep, yeah, absolutely, man. My favorite recorded like guitar tones is old tube amps, analog recorded, and for years, you know, like when I was a kid and I first got a guitar, you know, you're listening to Maiden, Maiden and Judas Priest, and you're like, they've got these Marshalls, so. I wanted a Marshall, so I went into the music store, and this fucking guy there talked me into getting this little Mesa Boogie amp, you know, and he was like, oh, you'll be the envy and all this and that, because you don't have to drive the amp very loud to get nice, you know, gain, saturation, and that kind of thing. And I'm like, you know, I'm a kid. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, whatever. So I got it, and it's a cool amp. It was called a Son of a Boogie. Great amp. But it just, over the years, you know, I always gravitated toward that Marshall sound, you know, so I was just like, for years, I didn't have a Marshall amp. And then once I got one, you know, it's like I got like 4 or 5 Marshall heads now, you know what I mean? It's just like, they're all different. And all of them are modified but one. And I've had the luxury of getting some of the best amp modders in the world to fuck with some of the Marshalls I have, and it's just like, I would never want to play anything else, man.
That's really cool, man.
Old gear all day, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. All right, well, Mike, I got some questions for you rolling in from the chatters in the chat room, man.
Awesome.
Let me see here. Leviathan wants to know. He wants me to ask you, do they babble while they snipe? And is it hard to sneak up on their target while babbling?
Right. You want to hear a funny story, dude? We couldn't. Two different times we had guys over in the Middle East, in the sandbox or whatever they're calling it, and they were rocking our music, and they were rocking our music on night raids, and I'm like, get out of here. And they're like, dude, the one guy, the machine gunner, has it on his fucking his iPod, and his earbuds while he's fucking shooting shit up, cranking out fucking Snipers of Babel. It's just like, it's surreal to think that, you know what I mean? There was this other one where Jeremy, a friend of his, before they went out on a night raid, they were, they kind of like, they're in the barracks or whatever before they're going out, and they're getting hyped up, man. They're pumping each other up, and they're like cranking our music, man. It's like, whoa, this is crazy, So that was really cool to hear that, Yeah,
that is cool, man. All right, another question, totally unrelated. Lady Red wants to know, what do you prefer, bubble baths or showers?
Well, it depends. If I'm alone, a shower. If I'm with somebody, a bubble bath.
Fair enough. Another question, she wants to know, how many instruments can you play?
I can play guitar and bass. I'm kind of a hack on bass, but that's pretty much the main two instruments I focus on. I do keys on all of our music, synth and that kind of thing, but it's all recorded to a track, so when we play live, we don't have to have an extra chode out there playing keyboards. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's hard enough to be in a band with 4 or 5 people, let alone one person more you throw in the mix. It's just like, you got to deal with all the shit they do in life and their schedule and everything else, so I'm a hack on keys, but I can get it recorded and just set it and forget it kind of thing, so it's mainly guitar is what I focus on.
Right on. How many people do you have in your band right now?
Right now, Layla has taken kind of a backseat to everything. She's got so much going on in her life, so it's we still have some songs that have some of her stuff on it that we're going to cycle out. But for the future, we'll see what happens, but she's so swamped and with what's going on in her personal life and with her and her husband's business that they're building up and stuff like that. So it's mainly right now, it's me and Jeremy and Danny. Jeremy and Danny on vocals, and we have Mike on live drums. Kevin Talley does all the recorded drums. And Chris, a longtime bass player of mine from going back into I was in a band called Spine back in the day. And he's kind of like been my my Dave Elson, I guess, you know what I mean, through the years. Hopefully he doesn't end up like that guy, but he's been with me forever, man, And so we have 2 vocalists, guitar, bass, and drums. So it's kind of more of a normal size band now than it was, because at one point we had 6 vocalists, and that was in the very beginning. We never had any intention of playing live. It was just a studio thing. I love, different vocals, and in my head I hear different voices and stuff, like not on a crazy level, but in the music I hear different vocals on the music. And so I was just grabbing vocalists that I've recorded over the years and have them come down, and then we just decided to do it live. But we kind of whittled it down over time, to just mainly 2 vocalists now.
Hell yeah. All right. Next question. Thunderous wants to know, where in the world would you like to play live if you could play anywhere?
If I could choose anywhere, it would definitely be like Wacken Festival or something. You know what I mean? Something, one of those big ass festivals over there would be sick, man.
Hell yeah.
We played in Mexico. I'd love to go down there and play again. We played the Tecate Metal Fest, and
I remember that.
Dude, I've never seen so many people, and everybody there was super, super cool. And just talking with different people, they're like, metal is different. They're like, it's different than in the States. Here, it's a way of life. It's like, it's every day, they're putting on.
They don't fuck around.
It's crazy, man. You know what I mean? It's like, it's nuts, how into it they are. It was really a fun time. We were one of the only bands that actually went out into the crowd. Juan, our buddy Juan, who became a really super good friend, and I'm actually in a project with him called Lapita. He was able to get us back from the hotel, because at the hotel all the bands stayed at this one hotel, and they would shuttle you back for your set time. And we were like, man, fuck that. We're all the way in Mexico at a festival. We want to hang out and have a good time. So he took us back, and we were able to hang out for like 5 or 6 hours and just, mingle in the crowd and eat the food and drink. And it was just an awesome experience. I would love to play something like that again. Something about South America, man. They fucking love metal. It's amazing down there.
Yeah, they do, man. We love those people down there too, man. Like we have, massive support from down there, man.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Next question, Vicky wants to know, what do you wear when you're on stage? Boxers, briefs, or nothing?
Boxers. Gotta have something on, man. I don't really go. What do they call it, Rambo?
Yeah. Commando.
Yeah, Commando, Rambo Commando. Yeah, it's always boxers for me.
All right. Next question: how many bands have you been in yourself?
Oh man, I would say I was in a band called Bedlam, starting off, then a band called Addicts, and then Oblivion, which was my first like real big band that actually got offered a record deal from Relativity at the time, which used to be Combat Records, and that band really, we moved to California, and we really did a lot of good stuff in that band. And then that band turned into a band called Spine. And then after Spine, I was in a band called Audio Terror Regime, and which was cool because some of that music was on a Geico commercial, which is kind of funny that not really anybody really knows about. The guy who did Caveman Cribs for Geico was a fan of the band, and he asked to use some of the music. And I didn't really know how involved it was going to be. And it ended up being like on Monday Night Football, the Geico commercial came on and our music's on it.
Fuck, that's badass, man.
Crazy. And my daughter at the time was like a baby, but she always hears music, and she's like, Dad, that's your music. You know what I mean? And I'm like staring at the TV going, what the fuck is going on? Because I had no idea. He sent us a little contract. We signed off on the song. He gave us $1,000, and then I didn't hear from him for a few months, and then our music's on TV. It was crazy, man. So I was doing that project, and then I started doing another band called Zakaya, which was a more of like if you were to take 5 metalheads and throw us in a swamp for a year, the music we would play would be kind of like that, kind of like Black Label kind of vibe. It had some doom, some Clutch kind of vibe to it. So I was doing that for a while, but I wasn't like the main music writer. I had some of my songs were like the more metal, quote unquote songs. I'm a metalhead, and that's how I write. So when I then kind of evolved into Snipers of Babel, it was originally just a metal side project, and then it just kind of took off, from there. So it's been kind of a long list, but I'm finally doing something that is truly me. It's a passion from my heart. I write all the music for myself. It's like you said, it's very therapeutic. If people love it, that makes it even better. If they hate it, it doesn't matter, because I'm doing what I want. I'm playing and writing what I want to hear. You know what I mean? And and that's basically the bottom line. I'm just writing stuff I want to hear and have fun with.
Oh yeah. Next question, Vicky wants to know, what do you prefer, sausages or pies?
Sausages or pies?
Hell pies.
Hell pies. Yeah, I'll take a hell pie.
Fucking perverts.
That's funny, man. And he did a show with Hell Pie at a place called The Pie Shop in DC, and they actually make pies, and they actually made a hell pie for the occasion. It was pretty awesome. They auctioned it off or whatever, so it was really neat.
That's cool. What did they put in it?
I don't know, maybe sausage. Who knows?
There you go, a sausage pie.
Right.
Jesus Christ. She's also asking me to ask you, have you ever had a threesome?
No, I missed out on that, man. You know, a true story, dude. It's like I had the call, and I was in the middle of band practice, and I was like, hey, okay, can you guys come over after practice in about an hour? And they were like, okay. And I could tell the reluctance in it, so I kind of canceled practice a half hour early, but they wouldn't answer the phone after that. I was so pissed. I was so fucking pissed. Yeah, but yeah, I missed out on it. Sorry, Vicky.
Lady Red wants to know, cut or uncut? Asking for a friend.
Cut.
There you go, man. What the fuck, man? These fucking questions.
Yeah, man. What?
Secret Weapon wants to know, any band member ever catch a random STD while touring, and was there a cure for it?
Yeah, one of our guys in the past definitely got.
Really?
Yeah, but there wasn't a cure for it.
Oh,
so
shit.
That's his friend for life. I can't say who it was though, man. I can't say, but it was and it was funny because at the time, our guitar player at the time had the same STD. So the guy was so freaked out about his new STD that he was like, oh man, I think I got herpes. Okay. And the other guy was like, well, what's it look like? You know, and we were at a storage facility practicing, and the guy was like, well, come here, I'll show you.
Oh God.
So they went around the corner for like literally like 2 seconds, and when they popped back around the corner, you know, the other guy was like, "Yep, he's got herpes." Yeah, so he was bummed, man, because I don't think there's a cure for that, man.
No, I don't think so.
I think so. They have it.
Next question: have you guys ever played any haunted venues?
Yeah, we have. My house, but no, we've played. There was a club called the Bayou, like I mentioned earlier, where I saw Motorhead at in Georgetown, and it was a historical place. And I still don't understand how they were able to come in and demolish it and put up townhomes, because it was a historical site. It was an amazing club in DC for so many years. So many bands played there. You know, I mean, I saw like bands like Megadeth and Flotsam and Jetsam, Motorhead, just Death. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It was like that club that everyone would hit, and it was known to be haunted. And my ex-wife worked there, and she had and other people, you know, after hours, when they're just chilling out at the bar or whatever, you know, they would like see shit. People have seen a guy walk down the stairs and then he would kind of vanish, and he was apparently murdered in like a mob hit, you know, back in the 60s or something, and so they still see him walking around. It used to be a stop in the Underground Railroad back in the day, so it was like a safe house, you know, so it's a lot of street. It was a really cool place.
Oh yeah, man, that's cool. Next question: Bones from Hell Pie wants to know, how did you meet your drummer Will Dorsey?
Bones, what's up, brother? Again, he was a local guy who was in a band called Laughing Colors back in the day, and they were always like on the cover of these. You know, we had like the Melodia and the Maryland Musician magazine. It looked like a paper you'd pick up, you know, at a book stand on the corner or something, and it was really cool because every month they had like all the shows. They had all the just who's new up and coming and that kind of thing, and you'd always see Laughing Colors on it. I didn't know him at the time. Jeremy was more of a friend to him growing up, and I didn't meet Will till more recent times. But being that Will and Jeremy were so tight, Jeremy just kind of humored the idea, hey man, would you like to play drums on Snipers originally? And with his schedule and body count, it didn't work out. So we got an old friend of mine, Kevin Talley, who I met back when he was in Dying Fetus, and he lived actually in Crofton also at a friend of mine's house. He was like a roommate, you know, and while he was playing with Dying Fetus and stuff. And so that's kind of how I met Will, was just through Jeremy. He agreed to do the Gaffled stuff, which is more new metal kind of thing, you know. And Will was totally down with it, so we had him come in the studio, and he came down and knocked it out.
Fuck yeah,
So,
man.
Yeah.
Secret Weapon also wants me to tell you that he says thank you for the package in the mail he received a few years ago. He's still got the bullet on his keychain, and he never broke the wax seal on the CD.
Oh, that's fucking awesome, man. Hell yeah, man. I like hearing that shit.
Hell yeah.
And it's funny. I was talking to Chris Grant the other night, and I talked to him about this, but he had mentioned it. He brought it up in an interview he did with Danny on Wednesday night. And Chris was like, "Yeah, man, I'm a collector, so I still have the CD with the wax seal. I don't want to break it, you know." So that's pretty awesome. That was Layla. It was her doing, man. She went through and by hand melted these things and put the wax stamp on all of them. And, you know, I told her, I said, people aren't going to want to open this up and hear the damn CD now.
Well, we got the digital, though, so, man, I still got that fucking bullet fucking keychain, too, man. I can't tell you how many fucking beers have opened with it, man.
That's awesome. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, it's always right here on my desk, dude. Fucking every Friday night, man. Every time.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, I guess I'm about out of questions for you, man. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
Just keep an eye out for the new Sniper stuff. We're just putting them out as singles for now, and we're definitely going to put out a CD at some point. We had issues we were originally going to do it as a CD. We had issues with artwork for a while. And so at the time with COVID and just everything going on, we just wanted to start getting our music out there, So that's basically, keep an eye out for that. And again, I'm in another band called Gaffled. Check that out. We're on Instagram and on Facebook, and we're putting music out all the time for that stuff. And hopefully we can, get going with shows again and get that going in the near future. And keep an eye out for the Southern Maryland scene, man. It's popping. It's definitely growing, and it's got a lot of really good bands.
Fuck yeah, Mike. Well, before I let you go, can I get you to make us another station tag?
Absolutely, man.
All right.
You want me to have you in it?
Whenever you're ready, just say something like, "This is Snipers of Babel, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio." However you want to say it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Yo, this is Mike Bozier with Snipers of Babel, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio with Zach motherfucking Moonshine.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell awesome. Yeah, man. Hell yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us, dude. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to blast some more snipers for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
That's awesome, man. Anytime, man. Zach, it's always a pleasure, brother.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll talk to you later, man.
Have a good one, brother. See ya.
You too. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
There you have it, folks. Snipers of Babel, live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your driveways. If you're living in the basement, duct tape those motherfuckers to the fucking ceiling and crank it the fuck up loud. If you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere tomorrow, there's something seriously wrong with you. I'm serious. Crank it the fuck up.